And now a message from the inside of Richard Saunders' walk-in refrigerator.
Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Hello and welcome to the Skeptic Zone, episode 290 for the 11th of May 2014. Richard Saunders here with you from Sydney, Australia. What an interesting show we have lined up for you this week. A walk on the other side, a walk on the paranormal side, we might say. Maynard's spooky action, the welcome return of Maynard's spooky action. Maynard and I travel to Paracon 2014, Australia's paranormal convention, held in Maitland Jail. It's now a disused jail, a bit of a tourist attraction, and they hire it out for conventions and events. It's a bit eerie walking around an old jail, I must say. Anyway, Maynard and I travel to the convention and chat to many people attending, speakers and other people, and I hope Maynard's spooky action will give you a bit of an idea of what was going on. I had a good time. Maynard had a good time. To say I was impressed by some of the talks I saw would be not quite telling the truth. However, I did my best to be respectful and just took in the information. But thank you to all the people there who came up to me and shook my hand and said, hello, Richard. So that was really nice. But very, very friendly people indeed. And coming up after the little adventure to the Paranormal Expo, it's a week in science from our friends at the Royal Institution of Australia. As ever, what a great segment, the week in science. Then to round off the show, it's Evidence Please with Jo Alabaster. And this week, Jo investigates smart underwear designed to shield against mobile phone radiation. Yes, yes. Jo gets to the bottom of the story. She won't give you any bum steers. Oh, I could go on. Wireless underwear? What? Protecting your nether regions against mobile phone radiation. I'm looking forward to this segment myself. That's coming up to round off the show. But before we get stuck into this week's Skeptic Zone, I hope you're all enjoying watching the Cosmos TV series. I certainly am. For those of you in Australia, tonight's episode is episode 9, The Lost Worlds of Planet Earth. And this episode, I think, is one of my favourites so far in the current series. Coming up on the National Geographic Channel here in Australia, and for those people in other parts of the world, in North America especially, coming up on your episode of Cosmos this week, an interesting look into the life and works and legacy of Michael Faraday. And I've noticed, it's just been brought to my attention that the Cosmos series will be available pretty soon on DVD and Blu-ray. DVD and Blu-ray, I'll be certainly putting in my order. I'm enjoying the show so much. And that's coming out on the 10th of June. Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey on Blu-ray and DVD, June 10th. Watch your local outlets for details, your local DVD outlets. And a big thank you to the wonderful people here in Australia at the National Geographic Channel who have been looking after me so well, supplying me with preview copies of this excellent series. And not only preview copies, but of course the little Cosmos packs. And I have another Cosmos pack to give away to one of the lucky people coming along to the Australian Skeptics Dinner. The Australian Skeptics Dinner meeting on the 24th of May at 6:30 p.m. Details and tickets at www.skeptics.com.au. And the theme for this dinner will be vampire moths and killer mozzies. A wonderful talk by Dr. Cameron Webb, all about weird and bizarre insects that like to attack you in various ways. Come along to the dinner. Book now. Tickets are going fast. And one lucky attendee will win a Cosmos gift pack, including the Cosmos book, the Cosmos writing pad, and the Cosmos carry bag. Be the envy of your neighbourhood. When you visit the website of the Australian Skeptics, you can also check out details of the upcoming national convention, November this year, and buy your tickets. More about the convention in the coming months of the Skeptic Zone. It's also been great in the last couple of episodes to have the return of A Grain of Salt with Erin Sagev, interviews from QED in Manchester. More of those interviews in the coming weeks. And there will be some more interviews from Paracon too. We couldn't fit them all in today's show, but there's a lot more coming. And a big thank you to those people who do contribute to the Skeptic Zone via PayPal at skepticzone.tv. We use some of your generosity to help us get to Paracon, Maynard and I. We regarded that as a field trip, a road trip, you might say, a reporting adventure, and some of the funds from Skeptic Zone fans helped us to get to Paracon. So those people who do contribute, I think you'll take an extra pleasure in listening to this week's episode. Well, that's enough from me. I'm going to run downstairs and make sure Fred the cat is happy on his cushion, sleeping away as he does. Going to go up to the cupboard this time. I have to use a little stepladder. Get up to the high cupboard, and I hope there might be one more packet of honey popcorn left in that cupboard. Maybe. Honey popcorn. Well, I'm doing that, and I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone.
Here's Maynard's spooky action at a distance.
We're in the Maynard mobile, this wonderful VW Beetle. Maynard, we're off to the Paracon.
This is pretty exciting, Richard, because I think it's good that you are there, because I think that I will just be so excited in this that I will not be able to contain myself. I think there's hidden powers within myself that I haven't realised. You know that there's power in my own pants that I've never used.
Let's keep it that way, Maynard. Let's just keep it that way while we drive to Maitland.
But I got power in my shirt, and I've got a little bit in my back pocket.
And your shoes.
That's right. Look, Richard, I think you've got to open your eyes here. I think you've got to go all Rupert Sheldrake on us today. And in fact, as we're driving along, you know how dogs know the owners are coming home. We'll be driving along Maitland Road, Mayfield in Newcastle, and there'll be dogs in houses coming to their front yard thinking that we're coming home to them. I think that's what will be happening today.
I think it's all true, Maynard. I think it's all true. This is what happens when you go to Paracon, the Australian Paranormal Convention.
And you actually spent the night at Maynard International Studios, on the Maynard International Studios casting couch.
I did. The orange couch.
And it was funky, wasn't it?
And I had weird dreams, I can promise you that.
And you learnt two things about Maynard that most people wouldn't know. I go to bed early, and I eat halloumi.
Don't worry, Maynard. Your secret's safe with me. Shh.
Don't mention that. Did we get away with the halloumi?
I think we did.
I think we did. Halloumi. Here we go.
And we're off.
Hey, it started.
Well, the great trip's underway. We're a bit lost in the back streets of Newcastle here.
Hey, come on. Hey, look. Feel the power of the 2-litre Volkswagen engine.
Stewart Avenue.
There's a woman in my car.
And Siri...
That's a first.
Siri is doing her best, but she's taking us on a bit of a mystery tour, Maynard.
At the roundabout, take the second exit onto Hannah Street toward Industrial Drive.
Okay.
Oh, what's this now? They're after us.
Shh, that's all right. Shh. Hide the Bee Gees albums. Boy, that was a close one. You know, many times I'll get the Bee Gees album out, and it mightn't even be Saturday Night Fever. It might be one of their lesser-known albums like One or When Spirits Having Flown. And the police are right onto me. I mean, I have to keep them inside, stuff like, Dubstar albums or, occasionally, a Tism album, and I pretend I put the Bee Gees inside there. It's easy, occasionally. Well, I've just arrived at Maitland Jail, not for the first time, although this time I'm a free man. I'm standing next to another free man of the land even, perhaps. It's Alex Cayas. Hello, Alex, the organiser of Paracon Australia 2014. A brave move.
Yes, very brave. Very happy to be here.
What sort of background have you got in putting on events?
I've got, background in event management, also production management, location management, so all those skills came very handy in putting together this conference.
Look, I, for one, really think we should have more paranormal conferences in Australia, because a lot of the ones we have have here are new agey. They're sort of new agey, but this has got a little bit more of the political and the conspiracy in it, and I dig that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we are actually Australia's only paranormal conference, Paracon, and we're trying to include everyone from ghost hunters to UFO chasers to mediums, everything.
Yeah, because the ones I think of occur in northern New South Wales or in Queensland by Nexus magazine and that sort of thing, and they're a bit more new agey, like I said, which is just fine. But I guess I'm influenced by the American ones and by the shows I listen to there, and I hear these people, I go, yeah, I want a bit of this in Australia.
Definitely. That's my influence as well. I've been watching Paracons in Europe, Paracons in America. They have these all-inclusive events, and that's what I was trying to bring here.
And when you've got the world of the alternative theory of reality, how do you pick and choose to who to come to this conference?
That's a very good question.
Because you've got everybody. You've got everyone on a whole spectrum of opinions and mental states.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a criteria there. I really wanted them. They need to have some work to their name and be able to offer something of value. So I'm looking for authors, researchers, people who've perhaps produced or television, that sort of thing, who have lots of clocked lots of hours in the field that they're in. Obviously we all have to begin somewhere, but to present something it has to be of value, so they have to be passionate about it.
When you approach overseas speakers, do they jump at the chance to come to Australia for this, or do they go, who are you?
The speakers we got, Jeff, Robert and Ben, they loved coming out here. For two of them, it's their first time here, and they were thrilled from the get-go. So, yeah, they wanted to visit Australia for a very long time.
Because, okay, why isn't Von Daniken here? Why haven't we got Eric Von Daniken with his bling jewellery, with his glass of scotch and his cigar on stage?
I didn't have his direct email and can't get a hold of his manager. That's probably why.
Okay. Now, what about the Ancient Alien guys? The guy with the fantastic hair, Mr. Cayas, whatever his name is.
Yeah, well, it looks like you've got a list, so if you want to pass that on to me, there's always 2015, definitely.
and do you ever worry, like you're putting your head on the block for a bit of money here, as you do with any event? Well, you're a bit worried, and what's been the response for the first one here?
We've got a really good response. My ticket projection was right on, so I'm quite proud of that. Yes, it is a big investment, but I think it's worth it. This is just the beginning. I hope that Paracon Australia becomes quite a neat cornerstone of the events that go on in Australia.
And what about the audience you've attracted this first go around? Is it who you thought or not?
Well, I mean, we've got an array of people, mostly Sydney, Newcastle based, but people have come from New Zealand for it. We've even got registered guests from Las Vegas. Okay, now you put your money where your mouth is. Who's your favourite guest? You've booked a lot of people. I know you're not supposed to have a favourite child, but I'm a bit of a fan of the Ben from Fact or Faked, because he was pretty special, and he just looked a bit stoned through most of the show too, which I'm going to ask him about. I know he's a law enforcement official, but he had that Scooby quality about him. Yeah. All right, it is hard, and I do love them all. A real thrill was to bring Robert Murch out, who's doing all the Ouija board stuff. I like it because, Ouija board's such a hot topic with everyone. You either love it or hate it. You guys are having an external Ouija board event. You're having a Ouija board party. We are, later tonight. You're going to be doing Ouija board shots? I hope so. Watching Ouija board videos? I definitely hope so, yes. So he's been a really cool guy. Lots of, knows the history throughout, where it started, throughout film, everything. So, he's a plethora of information on the subject. And look, on a serious note too, although we are looking at alternative theories here, I think it's very important to treat people with respect. Yep. And have you found people here that they're all taking it on board quite well, have they? Yeah, look, everyone I think so far is very open-minded. We have a lot of people crossing disciplines, if you like, ghost hunters approaching the UFO researchers, which is nice to see as well. And there is a lot of mutual respect, so we haven't had any issues. Okay. Yet. No worries, thank you. I'm here at the conference. What's your interest and why are you here at Paracon today? I'm actually I'm a ghost tour guide, ghost tour operator. Oh, yeah. Of Maitland Jail? No. But, and I also run the Australian Paranormal and Spiritual Expo, so I'm just here networking, talking. This isn't competition, is it? This isn't competition? Not at all. No, good friends. Now, this is known as Australia's most haunted jail. One of them. I do about to say, jail. Yeah, because I've got to say, every jail, if you were looking for bad energy, would be a place to look, apart from a cemetery, I guess. Totally. Yeah. You wouldn't think pleasant things happened in here, no. And what do you make of the range of people that have come here? Because I spoke to the organiser, and we've had New Age conferences before, but this is more of a paranormal thing, verging on the occasional conspiracy thing, and I kind of like that. It gets a bit of a political thing going. Dirty, yeah, it's great. It's something new. Yeah, it's something Australia needs. It's all internationally, they do it all the time, so we need it. Yeah. Who would you like to see here as a guest? Of course, I've mentioned the heavy hitters like your Von Daniken, your Thalakis
from Ancient Aliens. Who would you like to see here?
I like people like David Rowntree. I like his thoughts. I don't know. I like the guests that they've got here. I think they've got a great lineup.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Some skeptics. That'd be good.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got Richard, President of the Skeptics, behind you there. You'll obviously have a great discussion. But tell me, where do you think... Has it changed at all, the scene of the paranormal in Australia? I know we don't have the continuous conferences like they do in America to feed what's going on, but does it change?
It has. It's a lot more popular now with the advent of all the ghost shows. So it's a lot more popular. It's not taken quite as seriously as it used to be because people... It's got more of an interest So
look, I've got EVP interests me because I can't figure out how you can tell a real one from one that can be a mistake. How do you sit on the EVP? Because that'd be something that maybe people use contemporary as tools.
I'm not the best person to speak about that. I think there's good signs for and against EVP. So, I think there's too much possibility of radio interference and just matrixing and
pareidolia, audio pareidolia.
Exactly. So I think people do jump to the paranormal conclusion too often. Okay. So, but it is fascinating, the EVPs.
And do some of the ghost shows they have on television annoy you as someone who does that as a tour guide? Because obviously you aren't trying to sensationalise stuff, but on television they kind of have to make it entertaining. And does that annoy? Does you shake your little paranormal fist at the television sometimes?
No. It's all entertainment. You've got to do it. It's entertainment. Yeah, okay. People love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we have a similar thing. I can't really force my thoughts on what other people... You can't force your beliefs on people. So, if people believe in things like orbs and stuff like that on the tours, who am I to say that I'm right and they're wrong?
And if a regular person was to go somewhere and have experienced something, where's the most place in Australia that has some sort of experience for you?
Well, I have to say one of my venues, the Casula Powerhouse Arts Centre.
Why is it such a spooky, powerful place?
It's just got such a range of different... It wasn't always a power station. It was like a picnic ground beforehand, so there was lots of drownings, lots of deaths on the railway line. It's quite morbid, it's industrial, it's dirty, it's gritty.
See, and this is a great place to take a tour because if you want to experience that or you don't want to experience that, it's a place where you can tell history to people, and even if they just go along for a history tour, it's still a great tour.
Exactly. That's exactly what we do. And we give people free time to wander around as well, so they're not constantly supervised. So, Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Look, have a great day today, and I think more of this kind of thing, even if it's just pure entertainment or you want to come along.
October.
Yep.
We're hopefully having Richard there. I've got to talk to him.
Cool.
As I live and breathe, this is take two. I don't know what city I'm in. It's Alison Oborn from Adelaide.
Adelaide, yes.
You were on the Skeptic Zone years and years ago.
I was. I had a huge fun on that. Yeah, you came to our tour down at the Adelaide Jail.
The ghosty tour.
Yes.
Now, what's happened in the 6 years since then?
Well, I actually branched out and started my own ghost tours. So now Haunted Horizons. I'm still at the jail. I'm the information officer there for history, but branched out and started doing dark history tours and ghost tours. So trying to get history across to a generation that isn't interested yet.
So are there areas outside the jail?
Yep. We do the Old Tailem Town Pioneer Village on the freeway there.
Oh, yeah.
So, and what else do? We do dark history tours, street tours through the Adelaide city, talking about murders, executions, things like that, all the fun stories. Gawler, we do Peterborough, Borough, and now the National Railway Museum down in Port Adelaide.
The National Railway Museum?
So they've let us in. They've let us free in there. So
ghosts on a train?
Yeah, get some people in there.
That's interesting. I didn't know you'd branched out like that. Because we're standing here in the confines of Maitland Jail, and it's quite interesting. There's the razor wire, there's the big fences, the huge walls around us, the guard tower over there, just like you see in the movies. But you were saying to me earlier, this is more modern than Adelaide Jail.
Yeah. Oh, look, you walk around, and I'm looking at the conditions of some of this jail, and I think...
You'd rather be in this jail than the Adelaide jail.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Well, I had a look in some of the cells, and I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in any jail, quite frankly.
No, all these jails got shut down for a reason, really.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
To bring them up to any condition that the new laws would have wanted. It would have cost millions. They're really not the best place to be. Sure, it'd put a lot of teenagers off coming back and reoffending, though. I know the Adelaide jail did.
I'm never going to reoffend again after being in one of those cells, I can tell you now. Well, Alison, how can people find out more about your current tours?
Oh, look, they can just go find us on our website, AdelaideHauntedHorizons.com.au, or they can go on our Facebook page and see what everybody's saying.
Adelaide Haunted Horizons.
Yeah, a bit of fun for everybody.
A bit of fun for everyone. Alison,
you'll have to come along to that one.
I will too. Great to see you again.
Thanks a lot.
Look, I've been getting into some merch here. I don't mean I've been buying some stuff from a few tables and books and stuff. It's Robert Murch. How are you? And welcome to Australia and a paranormal convention here in Maitland.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here all the way from Boston, Massachusetts.
You've been looking at the history of the Ouija board. Now, is it Ouija board or Ouija? How do you say it? Because you were showing some examples where they said it about 5 different ways.
It was originally trademarked Ouija. But people would claim that it would turn into Ouija because when they'd play it, they'd Ouija. So it just took on a little nickname.
And that the one that Jessica Adams, the famous Australian astrologist, she always said to me, Maynard, the lower spirits inhabit the Ouija board and use that as a place where they can toy with humans. Now, that's what I've been heard. And the Catholic Church seems to think that as well. Now, is there anything in that, any evidence to bear that out, and why do we even think that?
Well, what's happened is in pop culture, Ouija board has been used in movies and as a tool for demonic possession, and that's really affected how we view it. When it first started in 1890, it was family fun night. It was a game the entire family played. And the reason why early mediums didn't like the Ouija board was before them, the Ouija boards, you had to pay them money to contact the spirits. And suddenly for $1.50, you could do it in your own home. So you hit them right in the pocketbook. And so,
who actually invented it in 1890? Was it a medium that thought, I can market something here? Could we tie it to a person?
Well, there are 2 men that claim to invent the Ouija board, and it's E.C. Resch from Chestertown, Maryland, and Charles Kennard from Chestertown, Maryland. But the talking board, the general term, was around for a little bit before, so we're not sure who really invented the Ouija board. It's still a mystery.
But now it's still licensed to Parker Brothers, and which happened in the 60s sometime, and it's a game.
Exactly. So in 1966, it was sold to Parker Brothers. In 1991, Hasbro bought Parker Brothers, and they make the Ouija board today.
And you showed some clips, and Fox News warns people on a regular basis about the Ouija board. Has there been any lately moral panic or soul panic about the Ouija board?
No, today the Ouija board has fallen and is following that rise in pop culture with the supernatural and the paranormal. So with all these paranormal shows and the interest that's in it, people are going back to starting to use Ouija boards because they're starting to feel that it's just another tool, that there's no difference between that and, say, a K2 meter or something else they might use.
And how did you get involved to be a Ouija board specialist? How did this happen? It's an interesting thing. Look, the history of Barbie's interesting, the history of the Ouija board, and these clips you showed today show that, like, man, it is a great tool in movies, isn't it? It's a great plot device.
It's an amazing tool to show visually and create suspense because it's slow and intense. You put your fingers on it, it starts to move, it causes tension. So yes, it's great. I started back in college in 1992. I picked up my first couple boards for some friends and then realized I had 10 boards and they were all different, and I just thought there was only one Ouija board, which is not true.
And where do you personally feel on it? Do you think it is a way to communicate with another realm, or it is just a good social thing to do?
I think that it can be both. I think there are people who believe that it crosses the veil to talk to the other side. I think there are people who believe you're talking to your subconscious, and then there are psychics who believe it's just it's causing a psychic link between the two players. So I think depending on your talent and abilities, it can be one or all 3.
What's the most unusual experience you've had during a Ouija board session?
I think the most unusual thing the Ouija board has done for me is bring me to Australia. I have to be honest with you.
You never would have called that one.
Yeah, that's true.
And have you had people coming along here, and yours is very much a historical, make up the evidence for yourself talk. I found it fascinating. Have you had people come up to you and go, you shouldn't be doing that, Yes, there's a lot of people who think that by educating people, I'm pushing the use of the Ouija board, and I'm not. I'm actually just trying to educate them so that if they have an opinion, it's an educated opinion. Look, it's just as much a social history, too. It tells you what, in 1919, obviously everybody wanted to, or there was more dead people because of the First World War. Obviously, that's why the rise in that happened.
That's right. Wars and economic downturn always cause people to go turn to very basic answers. And in a time before the internet, before the cell phones, before their iPads, they wanted answers. And so they turned to something simple and easy.
Has there been an attempt at a digitised Ouija board?
Many attempts, and actually if people go on their iPhone or the Android store, they can download quite a few. I think it loses something in the translation because being physically there and present is something that also, again, I think that's why it's so appealing today again, because the technology has made everything very sterile. So people who go on ghost hunts, they use these tools and they set them down and walk away. There's nothing like sitting down on a Ouija board and feeling it move under your fingers.
Something I've been asking all the participants here today might be slightly outside your field, but it does relate to your last answer there. How do you feel about electronic voice phenomenon, the fact that you may be able to get voices from the other side from radio slightly off the station? To me, it seems a little bit too convenient a tool for people in another realm to use. What's your view?
Well, what's fascinating about EVPs, as well as talking boards, as well as any tool that's been used to talk to the dead, it always reflects the technology people are using to talk to each other of the day. So people, even Edison, created devices to try to talk to the dead because they believed, well, if I could use a phone to talk to a living person, I just have to change it a little so that I could talk to someone dead. So it doesn't surprise me that people try this. I don't know if it works any better. I mean, I have not had that many experiences, so I don't know, but it is fascinating.
And where can we catch you online and find out a bit about more? How many Ouija boards have you got?
I have about 500 different boards and then variations of those, so at this point a couple thousand, so I have an awful lot. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to robertmurch.com, and if you want to learn about Ouija boards, you can go to williamfold.com.
I believe that your favourite Ouija board would have to be the My Little Pony version?
Oh, absolutely. Pink is the best. Barbie's great.
We are here at Old Maitland Jail, and we're going to spend a bit of time here at Here I Am, as you can hear from the echo, in the old baths room. We've got all the showers going here, and of course you've come to the corner of any prison bathroom, and pardon the echo, but it does create quite an atmosphere. Who have we got here?
I'm Ashley Hall, otherwise known as the Paranormal Guide, and I hail from South Australia and have come down for the weekend for Australian Paracon.
So you normally take tours around Adelaide Jail?
No, not Adelaide Jail. I actually work for a company called Adelaide's Haunted Horizons, and we have a couple of locations around South Australia, such as Old Town, Old Pioneer Village, St Cecilia's, and Old Bishop's Mansion, and Burra, an old mining town, as well as a couple of daytime crime tours as well.
Wow, we might just move around here because the echo is pretty good. But as you can tell, we are actually in the shower block, and we just move a little bit out, and suddenly all those echoes go away.
Actually, the acoustics are great between the outside world and the bathroom.
Now, what do you reckon of our conference here at Maitland here, a paranormal conference in Newcastle?
Absolutely brilliant. I've been to the jail before, but I've investigated at night, but there's so much more life here during the day with, there's hundreds of people come here to see international guests as well as local paranormal personalities here from Australia.
Look, and tell the listener, but basically they're thinking everyone who's coming here, there'd be a certain percentage of the audience that thinks the people that are coming here to this conference are kooks.
Okay. Well, they might think I'm a kook as well in that case.
but it's a great range of people, isn't it?
Absolutely. All walks of life, as they say. There's young, there's old, there's thick, there's thin, there's people with an interest. There's skeptics here. So yes. I think everyone can really come together at an event like this and take something home, something new, some new history, some new stories, and just have maybe an experience or two in this apparently haunted jail.
You are allegedly been to some of allegedly Adelaide's spookiest spots. How does Maitland Jail stack up against that on the spookyometer?
The spookyometer, I would say, yeah, definitely. This is much larger than the Adelaide Jail, and we don't have towering cell blocks like they have here. So when the lights go out here and it gets dark, it does get incredibly creepy. So on the spookometer, I'd say it's definitely up there with some of our greatest as well.
Look, man, it is happening here in Maitland Jail, but the spooky action at a distance, let me tell you, there's no distance. We are right in the central of spooky action. Just behind me is the prisoner's dental wing with the dental chair. Have you seen this, Richard?
No. Oh, I just walked past it now and I saw a dentist chair, but let's have a look inside. Ooh.
This is the prison dentist, and they've actually got some of the equipment, I think, from the 60s when this was stopped using. But look at that. Imagine getting your root canal done in there.
It doesn't look like an inviting dentist shop at all, does it?
Well, Richard, what have you made of today here? We're just sort of looking around here. There's been some people from the One that you were the skeptic on. There's been a history of the Ouija board, which is fascinating, a social history of the Ouija board. We're getting into some abductions later this afternoon. What do you reckon?
I've enjoyed it so far. I really have. The first thing I saw was the cryptids in New Zealand, the mysterious monsters, which was quite interesting. And then I heard a psychic talk for about an hour or so about her experiences. And
you've seen psychics a few times with audience, with members of the public. Were the members of the public asking the normal questions that you would normally ask of a psychic? Was anything different going on? What sort of happened there?
I don't know if you could ever say there's normal questions you ask a psychic.
But I imagine most people want to either hear from the other side or glean some information that they want.
They were more or less relating their own experiences back to the psychic for her impressions and comments, which is fine. People can do that if they want to.
And what do you think? What has really tweaked your imagination on what's going on here today?
Well, I'm looking forward to the abduction part myself, but have you looked inside the cell block, Maynard?
Yeah.
That's pretty spooky action, I can tell you. I'm glad I'm not a criminal, I can tell you.
I've been spending a bit of time in the shower block, personally, and I've got to say...
I wasn't going to mention anything, but...
the acoustics in there are fantastic.
Yeah, I bet they are too, yeah. But, as a skeptic coming here, it's what skeptics should do. They should come along and see what goes on at these sort of things, not to come along and make an ass out of themselves and yell out or whatever, but just to see what's going on.
And the range of people here looks pretty regular. Looks like, I haven't seen one propeller hat. Frankly, I'm disappointed.
I haven't seen one aluminium hat either, but I notice a lot of people are wearing, like myself, black. And you too, to an extent, yes.
That's okay, yeah. But I just think this... I would like to see more of this. I know most skeptics listening wouldn't want to see more of this, but I would like to see more of these conferences because they're great meeting places to get into this kind of stuff. I'd like to see Von Daniken. I know he's a dirty word. I know he's a bit of a swear word in the skeptical scenes, but I want to see Von Daniken here with a glass of scotch in one hand and a bit of bling on his fingers, sitting there pontificating.
He could come in his own chariot.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. So has anyone fronted you, Richard? Have you been fronted? Has anyone come up to you and gone, "Oh, you're that guy who doesn't believe you, dirty Von Daniken, you"?
I've had people come up and wanting to have their photographs taken with me. So there you go. I was expecting something else, but people have been coming up wanting to meet me, which is a bit embarrassing. I don't know how to react to that.
Wow. Were they the people with the psychic at the One? So people who went to see the psychic that was on the One probably recognised you as the judge.
I don't know. I didn't ask them. They just said, "Can I have my photograph?" Or "You're Richard Saunders." So there you go.
I tell you what, the woman who is with the food truck, she hasn't been to Maitland Jail before, and she's got an interest in the paranormal. Didn't know this was a paranormal conference, and she is just blowing a poofle valve. She's having a great day here.
Speaking of the food truck,
yeah,
I think I might head in that direction, Maynard.
The word is the pink donuts are the ones, Richard.
I hear you, Maynard.
Well, actually, I'm just want to ask generally, what has brought you along here today to this conference in Maitland?
Oh, well, basically I've had an interest in the paranormal, unexplained, basically all my life, and I do local ghost tours down here in Morpeth, and it's just been a fascinating subject for me all my life. I like to have a balanced viewpoint of things. I'm not too sceptical, I'm not too much of a believer. I like to sort of walk the middle path. So,
and who is the guest that you've been most interested in over the weekend?
No one in particular, actually, just the whole... Just come for the weekend and have a listen to what anyone's got to say. I've also got a stall here, so I'm here for a bit of promotion as well. Okay. So yeah.
Now, what's the main spooky action going on in Morpeth, by the way? I know it's a place that's got a lot of history.
Yes, absolutely. Look, like I said, my tour isn't about trying to prove to people that things exist. I just take the people along. I tell them the stories that I've been given. I don't make anything up. I don't make any stories. So
I've mentioned there's been a few paranormal people here, and I think that's a good place to start. Go on a historical tour of the place and let people fall where it may.
That's right. And I just basically take people around and I show them the sites that are reputed to be haunted and things like that. And it's up to them whether they believe it's paranormal or not. I don't try to convince them otherwise. I don't suggest that anything. I do what I call a couple of psychic exercises and see what people pick up in certain areas. And I do that repeatedly on tours, and sometimes you get people experiencing the same thing.
And what do you think is it like? Obviously, you got the attachment to Morpeth there, but in all of Australia, what do you reckon's one place we should go to where we could experience something, or more likely to? What's a place you recommend?
I don't know, because most of the places that I've been to that are supposed to be so haunted have not turned out to be that haunted. I mean, for example, here at Maitland Jail, I mean, admittedly, I have experienced something here. I've seen something here one night. But I really don't have an answer, because I think, and one of the reasons why I think that a lot of paranormal stuff has never been proven is because it's spontaneous. It's not easily repeatable.
Yeah, and that is a problem.
Yeah, from a scientist's point of view,
it's difficult to double blind it, and then
exactly. Exactly. And I think after hundreds of years of psychical research, we're no closer to an answer, which is
frustrating.
Well, it's frustrating. It's a great fuel for you guys. So yeah, like I said, I'm open to anything. So
okay, thank you. Who have we got here?
We've got Emma.
And you're?
Erin.
And what have you been looking forward to at the conference today? What has brought you to Maitland Jail?
Oh, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Something a bit different, something on the edge, the fringe.
And who have you seen and who are you looking forward to see? Anybody?
Oh, well, we just watched a history of Ouija boards. That was really fascinating.
Wasn't that great?
That was great.
Because I thought I was going to get a spooky thing, but you got a social history and where it fitted in.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. What are you looking forward to today?
I'm looking forward to sort of the investigation tonight. I think ghost hunting and that sort of thing is a bit of fun. I think I'm not surprised that the Ouija board was a game. I think that people project this eerie sort of image on something that is just frankly a bit of fun. Yeah. So the investigation tonight should be pretty good.
Yeah. Often people go into something and get what they thought they were going to get when they go in, really. That's what happens.
Well, I'm waiting for my inner skeptic to get rattled. So, it's very easy to be a skeptic, but it's harder at night when it's dark.
Yeah, when you hear the funny noise and you can't see it, that sort of thing.
All that stuff. It's great fun. Great fun.
That's great. Well, have a great fun day.
We will. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Coming to you live now from where the Skeptic Zone is usually recorded, a prison cell. This time the prison cell is Maitland. This time the prisoner is Richard Saunders.
Let me out. We are in a real prison cell.
I'm not a number. I'm a free man.
Oh, look at that. If we look up to the top of the cell, that's it. That slit of light is the only natural light. And if we shut the door... Oh, it's horrible. It's like an old...
Oh, check out the hinge sound.
Heavy iron door with cell bars on it. It's in the middle of the day and it's dark in here.
Yep.
How bad is this? And it's a wooden bed, a sink, and a toilet.
Yes, but one of those classic Bakelite toilet seats, and everyone knows how comfortable they are.
And was it about 3 meters? Not even 3 meters by possibly 1.5 meters. That's it. That's it. This is horrible, Maynard. This is really horrible.
Yep. Look, I've been in some bad rental accommodation in my time, but let me tell you, this is worse than anything I ever rented in Pedarlinghurst.
But I would gladly put a mattress here or some sort of something and a blanket and easily spend the night in this most haunted of places.
If you had your iPhone and you had all your power going, you'd just be on Facebook all night.
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, of course. Or even a decent magazine.
Yes.
I could, Twitter and Facebook, so here I am, it's midnight. Still waiting for the ghost?
Look, we've had people come up to you and say, a professional skeptic a couple of times here today. But everyone's been pretty straight up with you. I mean, no one's been rude to you.
No, everyone's been really nice, and some been curious to see me, but everyone's been really nice. Although the last talker was bagging the Australian skeptics, which was interesting.
Yes, we saw a talk on poltergeists, and I thought the evidence was a bit thin on the ground because the electrical fires, and also it was in foreign countries difficult to prove. There was a lot, it was almost a classic straw man in some ways.
Yes, that's what I'll say about that. I wasn't that thrilled with the evidence presented. I'll say that. Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. A lot of people here from ghost tours around various places. People from Adelaide, people from Melbourne, people from further up the Hunter Valley.
Ghost tours are fun. I've been on several ghost tours, and I always enjoy myself. They're always a giggle and a fun and a bit of history thrown in, you know.
Yeah. But look, and we've had a bit of a backlash from other skeptics on Facebook and Twitter about why are you here, why am I here? Well, I'm obviously here because I'm up for anything. But you know,
you used to live here, didn't you? In this very cell. There's your name carved in the wall.
Exactly. So I want to see. I'd like to see more of these things. I know people think that these people draw a line between something like this and the anti-vaccination movement, but I don't think that's always a given, Richard.
They're different. I treat this differently. You know, this is a paranormal convention. People are here with ghost stories and interesting things. It's a different kettle of fish to the hardcore anti-vaccination people out there. I look at them differently. You know, I'm happy to come along here and have a look and investigate and whatever. I treat them differently.
Yeah. But look, I think you'll probably have to come back sometime and go on the nighttime ghost tour of Maitland Jail.
Ooh, I might do that. That would make an interesting report.
Yeah, look, and I've met Rex Gilroy, the Yowie man, a legend in cryptozoology, yes. and as it is, that's how he pronounces it, zoology. So if a guy who's been doing it since he's 14 and he's 70s now wants to call it zoology, that's what you should call it, because the second half of the word is ology, which takes that second O away, which means it should be zoology.
I bow to his superior knowledge on the matter.
Look, him, John C. Dvorak, they're the two learned men of science that I always follow. Rex Gilroy, John C. Dvorak.
You did well, Maynard.
I do well. Yeah. And look, I think this is a great. We've got to get out to more of these things now.
Or back in to record more intros or something in this sound.
And the interesting thing is, as skeptics, we can come to this and see what they're presenting. But if perhaps that poltergeist man was at the skeptics conference in November, it might not go so well.
Yeah, you know what? That poltergeist talk, I don't think he would last terribly long, because people would be... it's hard to say. Look, I wasn't very impressed with the evidence he was giving, not at all. And it would almost be an insult to have people sitting there expecting to hear all that and not stand up and say, well, hang on a minute, continuously. Yeah. But, you know, I sat there in silence.
Yeah. But we're here, it's a good... Like, the stories were interesting, what he was showing was interesting, but, again, if you were looking for evidence there... And I was just talking to a member of the public then, and they were saying that, well, that's the nature of these events, that they're spontaneous.
That's one way to say it, yes.
Hi, I'm Finn. And I'm Rebecca. And we're the Skepticons. Skepticons is an Irish podcast by the Dublin Skeptic Society. It takes a conversational, reverent look at science, news and skeptical topics from an Irish perspective. You can find us at www.theskepticons.com. You're always spirit with your strong finance.
Welcome to A Week in Science from RiAus, bringing you the science you need to know. Flowers, they make a great Mother's Day gift, Valentine's Day gift, or just any day of the year. But why do we love giving them as much as we love getting them? Let's find out. Flowers are the reproductive part of a plant, producing seeds or pollen. Many plants have evolved colourful blooms, strong scents, and produce nectar to attract pollinating animals as part of their reproductive cycle. But for humans, the pleasant aroma of flowers is more than just a sweet-smelling perfume. Hidden inside that smell are a class of chemicals known as prolyl endopeptidase inhibitors, or PEIs. When you sniff flowers, these PEIs are absorbed into your body and increase production of hormones associated with love, arousal, and memory. And it just so happens that the most potent PEIs are found in roses, the preferred flower of Valentine's Day. But research has shown, in addition to a chemical boost, there are other good reasons for giving flowers as gifts. Humans have evolved to associate positive emotional responses at the sight of flowers. This response can significantly lift the mood of the recipient because of the strong connection between smell and memory. And in related research, scientists are exploring evidence that the chemicals found in a floral scent may also inhibit enzymes which cause Alzheimer's disease. But if you need any further encouragement, studies also show that those who give flowers are perceived as more successful, caring, and emotionally intelligent when compared to giving other similar gifts. And now, 4 fast facts about keeping your cut flowers fresh. When placing flowers in a vase, always recut the stems with a slant while immersed in water. This will stop air entering the stem and prevent wilting. Adding the correct concentration of sugar, bleach or vodka to the water keeps flowers fresh by preventing microbial growth. Place your flowers in a cool, airy spot and keep them away from the fruit bowl. Gases produced by fruit will shorten a flower's life. And finally, never give the carry-on flower as a gift. Apart from standing over 3 metres in height, its aroma is a stomach-churning stench of rotting flesh. That's it for this week in science. For more on the science of giving flowers, go to the RiAus website, riaus.org.au. Follow us on Twitter at RiAus and like us on Facebook. I'm Ben Lewis and we'll catch you next week.
The Skeptic magazine, the journal from Australian skeptics. Subscribe online to the world's second oldest skeptical magazine. Visit www.skeptics.com.au and click the publications link. You can also find there over 30 years of back issues free to download. The Skeptic, the magazine from Australian skeptics. What we want is some more evidence, please. Here's Jo Alabaster.
Hello, this is Jo Alabaster. An article by technology reporter James Billington appeared on News.com.au on the 7th of May 2014, titled, quote, "The smart underwear designed to shield against mobile phone radiation." End quote. Quote, "For any man who still feels a bit uneasy about the side effects of carrying around a mobile in their pocket, a new pair of underwear has been developed to protect their packet from any potentially harmful radiation." End quote. Following was a piece, which could well be read as an unpaid advertorial, for Wireless Armour, a UK startup who have developed men's underwear which incorporates silver into its fabric to allegedly shield the wearer from electromagnetic radiation emitted by mobile phones. The News.com.au article states, quote, "With scientific studies on the link between exposure to wireless radiation affecting sperm count, and with most men carrying their mobile phones in pockets or using laptops on a daily basis, these boxes, costing £24, $43, when available, could be the solution to that worry many males face." End quote. Interesting language. The News.com.au article mentions that there are, quote, "scientific studies on the link between exposure to wireless radiation affecting sperm count," end quote, but does not actually state that any such link has been discovered, nor the outcomes of any studies. A caption beneath a photograph of the underwear similarly avoids making any direct claims. Quote, "This pair of high-tech underwear has been designed to protect men from the potential harmful effects of mobile phone radiation," end quote. That said, the founder of Wireless Armour, Joseph Perkins, a Bachelor of Science in Physics and former physics teacher, is quoted in the article as saying, quote, "Wireless Armour is designed to protect the health of a wireless generation glued to their mobile devices. The fabric has been put through rigorous testing from external electromagnetic consulting company Wave Scientific. Results indicate that Wireless Armour fabric blocks 99.9% of harmful radiation, making the garments an extremely effective form of protection." End quote. Joseph Perkins seems to be making the claim that radiation from mobile devices, such as smartphones, causes harm. He's running an Indiegogo campaign to fund the first run of Wireless Armour and, by attaining a position as one of the top 10 back-of-an-envelope startup ideas, has courted the support of none other than Richard Branson in his endeavours. Well, what's the evidence? Fortunately, Wireless Armour are active users of Twitter and provided a link to peer-reviewed studies when questioned on their claim. The link was to a page on the Environmental Working Group's website, which cites several studies. A couple which conducted lab-based in vitro analysis of sperm samples exposed to varying levels of electromagnetic radiation, the results of which are interesting but not necessarily representative of real-life situations, and several which used self-selected samples of men who were self-reporting on questionnaires, a form of data collection which is not necessarily reliable. I think it's fair to state that the studies cited are far from conclusive. Looking at Wireless Armor's website, other sources are also linked to support the suggestion that electromagnetic radiation emitted from cell phones can be harmful, including a website which sells laptop radiation and heat shields, and a website which recalls the sad account of an individual who has suffered cancer, personally believes that his cancer was caused by electromagnetic radiation, and goes on to attribute many health conditions, from allergies to miscarriages to multiple sclerosis, to electromagnetic radiation. A fine example of what Ketan Joshi refers to as anything syndrome, in which self-reported ailments are attributed to a cause, often a technology, with no proven causal link. On their website, Wireless Armor seem to bounce back and forth between claiming that electromagnetic radiation is harmful and stating that it is potentially harmful. In the latter case, they strongly question whether people wish to wait for conclusive evidence before taking risk-avoiding measures. Quote, "At Wireless Armor, we do not want to wait around whilst the government and scientific community confirm 100% whether it is harmful to our health. We would rather protect ourselves now and find out later. Don't be a test subject." End quote. In response to tweets stating that radio signals have never been proven to lower sperm count or cause cancer, and that the studies cited by the Environmental Working Group were nonsense, Wireless Armor responded, quote, "You are entitled to that opinion. It is the fantastic thing about living in a free world." End quote. Where opinions count when it comes to making claims that information is factual and scientifically based, I'm not sure. So, for those people who feel that the potential for harm from electromagnetic radiation, while never proven, is still something they wish to protect themselves from, how is Wireless Armor purported to work? From Wireless Armor's Indiegogo campaign, quote, "Wireless Armor's products have a mesh of pure silver woven into the fabric of each item. This encases the user in a cage of metal. This is a special type of cage called a Faraday cage, named after the man who invented it, Michael Faraday. The reason that this cage is special is because any electromagnetic radiation that hits it is distributed evenly around the cage, therefore not allowing it to enter the cage and affect whatever is stored within it." End quote. No. While the silver weave fabric may have some shielding properties, these underpants are not behaving as a Faraday cage. A Faraday cage is a fully enclosed container made from a mesh of highly conductive metal, often brass or copper, which blocks external static and non-static electrical fields by channeling electricity around the cage, preventing it from entering the space within. The mesh itself must be thick and contain holes which are significantly smaller than the length of the wave of the electromagnetic radiation it guards against, so that the wave is reflected rather than allowed to permeate the mesh. Faraday cages are connected to an earth ground to dissipate any currents induced from external or internal electromagnetic fields. A pair of mesh underpants, on the other hand, has 3 rather large holes, one for the wearer's torso and 2 for their legs, which renders it not a cage. Additionally, unless the wearer has a copper wire attached to their underpants at one end and to a copper rod driven a metre into the ground at the other, a pair of mesh underpants are not grounded. A pair of mesh underpants are not a Faraday cage. Wireless Armor do, however, have a backup claim. In response to questions on the plausibility of their claims regarding electromagnetics radiation's effect on sperm and the necessity for protective underwear, Wireless Armor have stated on their Reddit thread, quote, "If it comes out that EM radiation is not bad for us, then people will still have very comfortable underwear with all the other beneficial properties of silver. We have a lot more silver in our products, above 20%, than other antimicrobial underwear, around 5%, and so ours will be very good at odor resistance and stopping the growth of bacteria." End quote. Well, yes, but frankly I'd be much more inclined to take my $45, purchase several pairs of cheaper cotton underwear, and perhaps some soap, and maintain clean and dry nether regions. I'd like to note that if you have concerns about unpleasant smells or bacteria, a check-in with your GP may be wise. In summary, Wireless Armour are marketing a product that is extremely unlikely to be necessary and embracing a concern which is not scientifically supported in order to market them. And even if radiation from wireless devices did affect sperm quality, the mechanism by which they claim that their product operates is a physical impossibility. How somebody with a physics degree is unable to realise this, and why News.com.au and several other media outlets, and indeed Richard Branson himself, are unwilling to properly investigate such before promoting this underwear, is quite a mystery to me. One claim I am willing to make with relative certainty, however, is that Wireless Armour are indeed a bunch of pants. As this report goes to air, neither Indiegogo nor Richard Branson have replied to emails since 7th of May explaining the nature of the claims Wireless Armour are making. I'd like to thank Wheeze MGK from Twitter for his help with this report, in particular for performing fact-checking from a broadcast engineer's perspective and for contacting relevant parties for comment. Links to all web pages mentioned in this article can be found on my blog at evidenceplease.net.
Ein großes Hallo an alle deutschen Zuhörer des Skeptic Zone Podcasts. Wusstet ihr, dass es auch in Deutschland einen Skeptikerverband gibt? Für weitere Informationen über uns und das Skeptiker Magazin besucht www.gwup.org. Ich wiederhole, www.gwup.org. Und unsere offiziellen Facebook-, Twitter- und Google-Plus-Seiten.
Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone. And coming up next week, more interviews from Paracon, the Paranormal Convention, more interviews from QED in Manchester with Erin Segev, and, well, who knows? That's one of the things I like about the Skeptic Zone. I don't even know what's coming up from week to week. Sometimes things just happen. You know, who can predict the future? Well, not many people. Well, nobody. Well, sometimes. Well, depends on how you look at it. I can predict that next week there'll be another episode of the Skeptic Zone. And next week we'll see if that prediction comes true. And speaking of predictions, haven't done this one for a few months. I've got my 10-sided die right here, so let's see how you go this time, folks. Think of a number from 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Could be 1, could be 2, etc. All the way up to 10. I'm going to roll the dice. Have you thought of your number? I hope you have. Here it comes. Oh, it hit a glass, but never mind. 8. All those people who predicted the number 8, well done. Oh, one last thing before I wind up the show. If you haven't heard the Skeptic Zone adventure Solar Flare, which we put out about a year ago, starring lots of the Skeptic Zone gang and lots of special guests, just go to www.skepticzone.tv, scroll down the page a little bit, and you'll see Solar Flare, the Band of Power, an audio adventure. We had a lot of fun making it, and if you haven't heard it, give it a go. It's lots of fun. But for this week, this is Richard Saunders, signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for comments, contacts, and extra video reports.